everybody, so today I'm going to be doing a movie review on 50 Shades of Grey. Also, before I start the review, I would just like to have a little disclaimer like I had in my 50 Shades of Grey book talk. Everybody and anybody should be allowed to go see a movie without being criticized or hated on because of that. It's a free world, and if we want to go see something, we should be allowed to without being criticized, and I think that down below, before you start criticizing me or any others who enjoyed or didn't enjoy the movie, please think about what you're going to say, and please be polite about it if it's something that you do not necessarily agree with, because nobody wants to hate in this world, and if you want hate in this world, you're a troll, and we do not like trolls in this world. So please try not to troll in the comments down below or hate on anybody's opinions, even mine in this video. Also, another little disclaimer is that people who call others who see this movie a part of rape culture or that they are pro-abuse, think about what you're saying, think about what you're going to type before you type it, because that is extremely false accusations and it's disgusting. If you call me or anybody else pro-rape or pro-abuse, think about how offensive that is to me or anybody else, because I am not pro-abuse, not pro-rape. I think that is a disgusting accusation that should not happen. People should be allowed to see movies and share their opinion without being labeled those heinous names, okay? I just wanted to get that out there because I feel like it should be said, and I think it's been said a few times in reviews before about 50 Shades of Grey, but I want to say it again because I feel like that message cannot come through enough. Also, in this review, I'm just going to be strictly taking it from my view of the movie. I'm not going to be bringing in my book review at all because I already filmed a book review, and I want to take this strictly for what I've seen in the movie, not from the book. So let's get started. Okay, so 50 Shades of Grey, I've seen it twice so far. I saw it at the midnight showing on Thursday night and on Valentine's Day with my friends. And I know everybody's like, oh my gosh, you saw it in a movie theater? Isn't that so awkward? No, not really. It's only awkward if you make it awkward. And if you make it awkward, of course it can be awkward because it's awkward. But honestly, I did not find it awkward to be sitting in a movie theater full of people watching this film. I don't know if I'm weird because of that, but I just didn't find it that awkward. But I'll be going into that later on when I talk all about the sex things in this movie and why I did not find it awkward. Okay, so last night when I saw the movie for the second time, yeah, I was just sitting there in the movie theater watching First Look, and I'm like, okay, why is First Look a thing? It just talks about cars and things that people don't usually care about. And then once First Look finished, all of a sudden I see Sam Heughan's beautiful face light up my screen and light up my world, and it was beautiful because they showed the Outlander trailer in the freaking movie theater. Outlander is a TV show. You don't expect to see that in a movie theater, and I was super excited. I freaking fangirled all over the place. People were looking at me. I don't care what they think. I'm never gonna see them again. My friends were like, oh my gosh, this is so Sasha's thing. I'm like, yes it is, Sam Heughan, Outlander, yes. So that seriously just like made my night like 100 times more spectacular because Outlander's trailer showed right before 50 Shades. So when the movie first starts, it was quite accurate to the books, and it was really funny watching Anastasia fall into Christian Grey's office, and he's like, oh, do you need help? And she's like, oh my god, I dropped my pencil. Can I use one of your pencils? I thought that was really cute and funny. And I think that whole entire scene, people can take it either really awkwardly or very like amusement-y. That's not even a word, but we're gonna go with it. Because honestly, I just like the interactions between the two when they first meet, because you can obviously see this subtext to what they're talking about, especially in Christian's voice and what he's saying. Like he's like, I like to dominate in all things. I'm like, oh honey, I know you do. I know you do. We all know you do. Anastasia doesn't know that yet, but she will. And then she'll knows you do. I honestly thought that Dakota Johnson, who plays Anastasia, and Jamie Dornan, who plays Christian, really brought some extra stuff to their characters, especially Dakota. She brought so much humor to Anastasia's character that I found myself tearing up laughing in this movie. Just the way she says some stuff is just perfectly timed and perfectly in context, and it was just awesome how she portrayed it. Okay, I loved how Christian just popped up out of nowhere, and he's like, first he pops up in the freaking hardware store, and he's just like, oh hey, can I have some cable ties? And I'm like, I read the book. I know what he's gonna do with those cable ties. Oh, Anna, watch out. And then she gets a red rope for him, and she's like, no, you have the full package of being a serial killer. And then she's like, oh, do you need like those stuff that you put over your clothing so it doesn't get dirty? I forgot what she calls it. He's like, no, I'll just do it naked. And I'm like, but he would do it naked. A great scene was when Anastasia was at the bar and she was like drinking with her friends, and then she goes and calls Christian. That was one of my favorite scenes because of how hilarious it was, how she's like, I liked how she like took on Christian's rough voice and was like, Anastasia, go, stay. And that was hilarious just because she was drunk out of her mind, and that's how drunk people act, and I thought it was hilarious. And then the next morning when she wakes up in his bed and she's like, oh my god, do we do anything? He's like, no, I don't do that stuff when somebody's drunk. And I thought that was hilarious. But when he actually took a bite of her toast, awkward, That scene was kind of awkward. Like, I was like, is this a dream? Is this actually happening? Did he really just take off his shirt in front of her and take a bite of her toast that she was eating? Yeah, it wasn't a dream. It actually did happen. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah. Awkward, but cool. The sequence of events in the movie was just like the books, and I really was happy about that because sometimes in book to movie adaptations, they mix up the order of events, moral instrument series, and then it can get quite confusing. So I'm glad that they stayed to the main premise of the book and followed it through to the very end. The sex scenes in this movie actually weren't that bad. I think that everybody really hyped it up to be really, really like sexual and BDSM and very like kinky, but they were not very like that at all. They were flavorful, but they weren't over flavorful, so you're like, am I seriously watching this porno? No, it's just like shows like Game of Thrones, Outlander, and anything else really that they show boobs and butt. Yes, they did play with toys in it, and yes, that's kind of like different from what we usually see on like TV shows or the movies where they show nudity and sex, but it was still like an okay proportion of that. I love Christian's reaction when Anna's like, yeah, I'm a virgin, and he's like, you're a virgin? What? I just showed you my playroom and you're a virgin? Oh crap. The scene where Anastasia asks, are you going to make love to me? And he's like, let me get this straight. I don't make love. Yeah, you're straightforward, sir. One of my favorite scenes in this movie though, like my all-time favorite scene, was when they were having their business meeting going over the contract. So freaking funny how she's like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that or that, and definitely not that. And Christian's like, dang it. I just love the interaction between the two, and it was really humorous, but just as fun to watch, and it was just really great. I just love that scene, and then how she like teased him at the end. She's like, do you want to like sit me down right over here and like go have some sexy fun times? And he's like getting all excited about it. Then she's like, okay, I'm gonna look over the contract and I'll see you later. And then she walks out. I'm like, you go, girl, you go. Kate, Anna's roommate, wasn't really in this movie, just like Elliot, Christian's brother, wasn't. But whenever they were in the movie, they were quite funny, and they were just like their characters, like really lovey-dovey to each other, and like really like, let's make out now in front of everybody. Very PDA. So I thought their characters were pretty good, and they weren't overdone in the movie, and they weren't underdone, so I was very happy about that. The casting for Elliot wasn't how I pictured him, but it was fine, and I love the casting for Kate because she looked just like the Kate in my head. So the BDSM aspect in this film wasn't overdone, and I think that that was very good because they kept it so it wasn't overwhelming, and they kept it so it wasn't underwhelming for people who really wanted to see that in the movie. And they also cut out quite a few sex scenes from the book and did not put them in the movie, which I thought was a great call, because then they would kind of be living up to the stereotype that this movie is all about sex. And I'm glad that they cut those scenes out because that kind of was a really smart move on their part. So in this film, my friend and I decided to count how many lip bites Anastasia would have in it, and we counted about 14 or 15, and one of those times though, so Christian bit her lips, so we weren't sure if we would count that or not, so we did count that in the end, but that's quite a few lip bites in the film. But it is very, very exactly like how Anastasia did it in the book, so you know what? It's okay, it's all good, because that's a big part of Anastasia's character. She rolls her eyes and bites her lip. They toned down quite a few of the scenes, I believe, in this film, because like the spanking scene that they first have, like it was very much toned down compared to the book. The BDSM scenes, they combined two of the scenes together that were in the book separately, so they combined them together in the movie, which I thought was a smart move. There's only two big BDSM scenes, and they weren't overdone, like I said before, but did not make it that great to watch it all together, but it was definitely enough so we get what was happening, but not overdone, so I literally didn't have to turn away. I could watch it without cringing. So when we get to the end of the movie, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Christian is very like mysterious, and not a lot of people know what's up with him. And when Anastasia says, punish me like the hardest way you can, I want to like try to understand you in that sense, I'm like, girl, no. But when he actually hits her with that belt, that was a scene that was so hard to watch. I turned my face away for half of it because it was just so hard to watch. But she did give consent to him to do that, and I think that people who say that he did that involuntarily to her, she did give consent, and we need to know that. That was totally consensual, and even though she did not like it at the end and she ended up leaving him at the end, we still have to respect that she did give her consent, but she has all the right to leave him at the end, because just because she gave consent does not mean that she can't be mad after it, I think. But I have no doubt in my mind, if she told Christian no, he would stop. Because as we saw at the end when she was going to the elevator, she was like, no, and then he stopped and he did not come into the elevator. That last scene in the elevator was so intense because if you remember from the beginning of the movie, when she's leaving the interview, he's like, Anastasia, and she's like, Christian, and the elevator closes. And at the end of the movie, they do the same thing, but it has so much more emotion to it. She's crying, he's distressed. You obviously see that he was kind of destroyed after he hit her with the belt. Because as you can see, like, it first seemed like he was taking pleasure from it, but at the end you could see that he was crumbling apart because he's like, why does he do this stuff? Yes, there were some really cheesy parts to this film. Some things were very like abruptly done and very like, oh my god, did they really put that in this film? Like, oh my god, that's really cringeworthy. But honestly, I thought it was a pretty good film. I did not think it was bad. I would see it again maybe, but like honestly, I don't think it was a bad film. I know that you guys are gonna be in the comments below saying, why would you promote that film? I'm not promoting it. I'm just going to see the film and telling you guys my opinion on it because I know that some of you guys really wanted my opinion on this film, so that's what I'm doing with you guys right now today, sharing my opinion on it. So I hope that you guys respect that and respect my opinion just as I respect yours. All in all, I give this movie probably a 6 out of 10 stars. I thought that the critics were very harsh on it just because of all the hype that was about it and how it was probably seemed worse than it really was. But I feel like if you read the book, you understand the movie more than if you didn't read the book and saw it, because I feel like people who did not read the book don't really get the movie and kind of end up not liking it as much as the people who did read the books and did like the movie. So that's why I give it a 6 out of 10 stars. There was definitely flaws in this film and there was definitely points where I cringed, but there's also points where it had me laughing and had me just like being like, oh, this is actually not a bad film. It was a very accurate book to movie adaptation, and if a book to movie adaptation, no matter what book it's about, if it's accurate, I'm happy. So that is it for my 50 Shades of Grey movie review. I enjoyed it. I'm not telling you guys to go see it or not see it. Do whatever you want. Don't let my opinion sway you unless you want to be swayed by it. But this is just what I think, and please respect that as I respect you guys, what you're thinking. You can hate it. You can profess your hate for it, but just don't hate towards me. Don't think that I am a bad person because I like this film, because that's just not okay and it's kind of offensive. So that is all for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!